Hello, welcome back. The story so far. An argument between Jacob and Evie had them ready to part ways when Henry arrived with the news that Stark would attack Buckingham Palace. Faced with this threat, the three assassins put aside their differences for one last mission. Together they defeated Stark and agreed to continue protecting London together. Here we have an entry in Evie's notebook. Number 10. Crawford Stark is dead, and with his death the Templar influence over London is broken. Few of his allies remain. It's tempting to regard this as a complete victory. It feels like one. However, London's underclasses still live in abject poverty, ruled by a capricious and cruel elite. Women are still denied education, suffrage, and property rights. England's military still stretches out to steal wealth from other nations to build our own coffers. The assassins still have much work to do if we wish for London to be truly free. Jacob and I have mended our differences for now. It remains to be seen if we can both bend enough in our philosophies to continue to work together, but I'm optimistic. One philosophy I have decided to abandon entirely: Father's adage that relationships will compromise the brotherhood. I think his love for my mother proves that on this point he was mistaken. Henry has agreed to stay with me in London for the moment. In exchange, I have agreed to travel with him to India in the near future. He is waiting for me now, so I will close here. The Cloak of Victory. Every assassin should be proud of who they are. Not the most discreet cloak to wear, but fortune often favors the bold. Aegis Cloak, inspired by Minerva's famed battle attire. This may not be a precursor's artifact, but it's still one of the finest cloaks one could possess. Legendary assassin belt. Go on, wear it. You've earned it, you talented killer. Holy. Well, here we have Queen Victoria, born on the 24th of May, 1819. Victoria, full name Alexandrina Victoria, was born in Kensington Palace in London. Her father was Prince Edward, Duke of Kent, and Strathearn, the fourth son of King George III, who both died in 1820. Victoria was raised by her German-born mother, Princess Victoria of Saxe-Coburg, Salfield, in a childhood that she later described as rather melancholy. Sounds magical. Victoria inherited the throne at the age of 18, and she later married her first cousin, Prince Albert of Saxe-Coburg in Gotha in 1840, because it's nice to keep things in the family. Their 9 children married into royal and noble families across Europe, earning her the nickname the Grandmother of Europe, which is a better nickname than her cousin's wife. After Albert's death in 1861, Victoria plunged into deep mourning and largely vanished from the public eye. However, her popularity recovered in the later years of her reign, which is the longest of any British monarch or any female monarch in history. Her golden and diamond jubilees were times of public celebration. Victoria's reign, commonly referred to today as the Victorian era, was a time remembered not only for its massive expansion of the British Empire around the world, but also for its industrial, cultural, political, scientific, and military changes within the United Kingdom. We have some enemies here. Crawford Stark, yeah. We've already talked about that guy. Other people, we have Prince Albert, born on the 26th of 1816 of August. When Queen Victoria first laid eyes on Prince Albert of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha, it was love at first sight. Sure, they were cousins, but it was a different time. She asked for his hand in marriage in October of 1839, and they were married in February the following year. The public was at first skeptical about a foreigner being made prince consort, fearing that Albert would have too much influence on Victoria. While Albert was by no means a malevolent figure, he did come to exert more and more power in court, especially whenever Victoria was pregnant with one of their 7 children. He restructured their household staff, became an important player in Britain's foreign policy, and squeezed his way into parliamentary ceremonies that had until then only required the presence of the Queen. As passionate as their love for each other was, Victoria pushed back against Albert's desire to become her sole advisor and the head of their family. By 1860, Albert's health had deteriorated significantly. He became physically weak and had difficulty breathing and could no longer eat. He was diagnosed with typhoid, a treatable disease at the time, but it was too late. He passed away on the 14th of December, with his wife, the Queen, by his side. We have a royal correspondence from April 27th, 1865. To the King of the Belgians, most beloved uncle, your 2 precious little letters of the 23rd and 25th have touched me deeply. That you should think of writing to me when you were feeling weak and unwell is too kind. Dr. Jenner has written daily to me, and he laments deeply that you did not, in the beginning, follow their advice and did not take enough nourishment, which would have prevented all this sinking and weakness. Beloved uncle, I earnestly and sincerely entreat you to never to neglect the doctor's advice again, and to think how valuable your life is for all of Europe, not to speak of me and your children. We have most extraordinary weather, real July with a perfect cloudless sky and deep blue sea. It is indeed quite marvelous and not wholesome. These American news are most dreadful and awful. One never heard of such a thing. I only hope it will not be catching elsewhere. I heard from the dear Countess. The extract I sent you before was from Vicky, and she is most favorable to the idea of Prince Christian of Augustenburg, and the thing would now be to see how, by degrees, it could be naturally brought about. I will send you the copy of what she says about it tomorrow. I hope to hear your dear opinion. Ever your devoted and unhappy niece, VR. Here we have the Phoenix Project. The Phoenix Project is Abstergo's latest insane endeavor to conquer human freedom. This time with the aim to sequence the triple helix genome of the first civilization and use it to explore precursor genetic memories and reverse engineer pieces of Eden. How I long for the simpler days when all they wanted to do was create satellites to control people's minds. In late 2013, Abstergo discovered a large quantity of precursor DNA in the body of one of its employees, John Standish. It turns out Mr. Standish was a sage, a precursor consciousness reborn inside a human body, giving it a much higher concentration of first civilization DNA. Abstergo wasted no time in searching for other examples of these sages and hunting for other relics in the hopes of obtaining more samples. We've spent the last few years trying to prevent them doing just that. Last October, I helped Gavin's cell of assassins locate and destroy a secret Templar laboratory dedicated to the Phoenix Project. I was very heroic, if I do say so myself, and I did not scream like a baby, despite what some people might tell you. Still, Abstergo has a head start and nearly unlimited resources. We have to do more with less, and hope they don't progress too far, or we'll be in more trouble than usual. And just to say it one more time, I did not scream like a baby. Take a closer look. Tokens of 3 key Templars we removed from the London boroughs. An ornate carriage clock from one of Pearl Attaway's carriages. Maxwell Ross once beloved Crow after a visit to a taxi garage.
Fetching outfit, I must say.
Hello, Miss Evie. We haven't tuppence in the coffers.
The bookie's blackboard from the final race.
Days like today, I'd walk down the Strand and pinch wallets.
International Working Men's Association.
Everything for a pea super, I imagine. Just getting better.
To commemorate the brave brothers and sisters lost in the expansion of the gang, may their sacrifice never be forgotten. Bloody gang. Given out to
Ready for battle, eh?
of respect.
Don't cut yourself.
London Underground. Darwin Sketches and Field Notes. A gift from the Charles Darwin from one of his excursions to the Galapagos Islands. The very first unsuccessful prototype of Alexander Graham Bell's small tidal grenade. Where should we go? Where should we go? Let's go see the Queen. Buckingham Palace. That's where we're going. That's where we'll see you. See you later. Have a good one.